Okay, so this is midpoint and distance formulas. So first off, we're going to start off with midpoint, and that's simply a point that divides a segment into two congruent segments. And remember, we learned about congruent the other day. It's this symbol here, okay, the equal sign with that little wavy line over it. Okay, and here's an example. So here we have line segment AB, and M is our midpoint. And if it is a midpoint, then that means it's cutting AB in half so that this segment is equal to this segment. And that's why we have these little marks. These red lines are indicating that this AM is the same length as MB. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples on how we're going to use that. Okay, so find AM if AB equals 14. Okay, so I'm always going to look back at my diagram, and it says AB equals 14. Well, AB is the whole thing, right? And if the whole thing is 14, and we just want to find AM, AM is this little piece, all we have to do is, well, the midpoint's cutting the whole thing into two equal pieces, so all I have to do is take my 14 and divide by 2. So if I do that, 14 divided by 2, we know that AM is equal to 7, right? Pretty easy. Number 2. Okay, so now it gets a little bit harder. We're going to look into it with some algebra. Okay, so it says find x if MB equals x plus 4 and AM equals 3x. So a little bit harder, but if we look back at our diagram and forget this part, this doesn't apply to it. But if we say x plus 4 equals MB and AM equals 3x, well, AM is this piece and MB is this piece. And didn't we say that they are equal, right? So if they're equal, we should be able to set them equal to each other. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to say MB equals AM, okay? And since I know what MB equals, and I know what AM equals, I can plug those in. So I'm going to plug in x plus 4 for MB. And then I'm going to plug in 3x for AM. Okay? And then all I have is a simple algebra problem, which we should be able to solve. Okay? I'm actually going to do 2 steps in one. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So when I do that, I get negative 2x equals negative 4. And we have one more step. All we have to do is divide by negative 2, right? And I should get x equals 2. Okay? So you're going to have problems like this, and you're going to have problems with algebra. But it should look all like this. Okay? So that's midpoint. We also have midpoint with coordinates. So we have to remember we have a coordinate plane. It's possible that we're going to have something that looks like this. And I know this looks really messy, but it's actually not that hard. Okay? So this is the midpoint formula whenever you're dealing with coordinates. This one right here has x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And again, this is our x value. Okay, this is why it looks like a set of coordinates. This is going to be our resulting x coordinate. Okay, but we also have y1 plus y2 divided by 2, and that is going to be our y value. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So example 2 says find the coordinates of the midpoint of line segment AB. And we have 2 coordinates there, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark them up. So if we look, we have our x's, and it doesn't matter which one we mark, but I'm going to make this one x1, and I'm going to make this one x2. And then I'm going to take this one and make it, this is my y1, and this is my y2. Now all I have to do is plug them in. So if I plug them in, I get 7, because that's x1, plus 5 divided by 2. And again, these are coordinates. And let's use red for the other one. 5 plus negative 11 over 2 for y. Okay? So again, if I do my math here, I'm just going to do it all in one step. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 divided by 2, I get 6, right? And let's finish this up with the y. 5 plus negative 11, well, 5 plus negative 11, that's the same as negative 11 plus 5. We get negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 2, we get negative 3. And that is my answer right there.